China has done it again. While the rest of the world is talking about the religious bigotry, China, on the other hand, is acting on it and making it legal. In a recent announcement, China is passing a new law that seeks to sinicize Islam by 2022 in an effort to redefine the practice of the religion and align the beliefs of Muslim with the Communist Party of China's policies and traditional Chinese culture. In other words, to make Islam more compatible with socialism, amid growing fears about the crackdown on the country's Muslim. So what exactly is sinicization means? Sinicization essentially means making something Chinese in character or form, especially the non-Chinese societies, and to bring them in the line of Communist Party of China's objectives and the culture. The ruling Communist Party has justified the move, saying it faces a threat from Islamic extremism and separatism. According to the Global Times, the details of the plan were not shared in any form of report. This is a 5-year plan from 2018 to 2022 that was discussed and agreed upon by 8 Islamic association and government officials at a conference held in Beijing. The sinicization of religion is nothing new in China, especially under the present political regime. Now, back in 2015, President Xi Jinping has also spoken about sinicizing 5 major religions practiced in China, that is Catholicism, Protestantism, Islam, Buddhism and Taoism. So should this new move by the government of China fuel concerns? Let us hear what Mr. Chari has to say.
The news that we get from China is actually very disturbing. As we all know what they have done in Uyghur, the Uyghur people in Xinjiang province, it's a Uyghurs are a small minority community in the Han-dominated China, and that borders with other Muslim nations, CIS countries and other Muslim countries. Especially if you walk a little down, it's just bordering even Afghanistan, Pakistan and all these areas. So basically what the Chinese are saying is China doesn't believe in religion. There is no official religion in China and religions are prohibited. So what they say is the Communist Party of China has what they call the National Patriotic Association. So all the religious preachers have to be compulsorily part and member of the Patriotic Association. So that is a part of it. Another issue with Uyghur communities, they are basically Muslims, local Muslims, Chinese Muslims you can say. So what China says is that you are not Muslims. We don't recognize Islam and you cannot be a practicing Muslim. If you have any religion, particular way of worship, which resembles Islam, then it has to be Chinese version of Islam. So they have prepared their own version of Islam. So in Chinese Islam, you cannot use Arabic prayers. You cannot use non-Chinese characteristics. So you cannot have masjid in the open. You can practice your religion within the confines of your homes, but no public show. You cannot have typical Islamic dress and you cannot have Islamic names. So all these Uyghurs who call themselves Muslims, I have been told no masjid, no wearing of hijab for women, no beards for men, no skull cap for men, no special Muslim dress for men, no Arabic prayers, azan, no open masjid and no offering namaz in public. So practically you cannot practice your religion at all. And what you can do as a Uyghur or as a Muslim is what the government tells you to do. A. B. Those Muslims who defied this ban, they created their own masjid and they had their own Maulvis, and the Chinese government came and arrested them, and many of those religious leaders are now missing. Plus, they have arrested millions of Uyghurs, put them in concentration camps. What they are calling it as is an education camp. So they are being turned into a Chinese characteristics. And in fact, they don't want Islam in their country. They don't want Muslims in their country. Practically, this is exactly what they did with the Christians also. Even as recently as this Christmas, on 23rd of December 2018, the Chinese authorities, they strictly, in many of the Chinese cities, they banned Christmas. Ironically, 80% of the Christmas lamps and other items that are sold and purchased during Christmas in the US, 80% of these products are made in China. So there are something called Christian villages. So they are not Christian villages, they are villages which manufacture items that are celebrated during Christmas, like Christmas tree, Christmas bulb, all these things. But even in those villages, they cannot decorate, they cannot observe Christmas. So much so that there is a national, what you call civilized cities category. Every city has to be part of the national civilized city. So they give that rating, what you call. So this rating is given only to those cities. One of the parameter of the rating is you should not have any religious function. So any city which has a religious function like Christianity, Buddhism, Islam or whatever it is, they don't give rating. So all these cities during Christmas, they will ban Christmas events. During Ramzan, they will not allow any Ramzan. And during Mahaparinirvan Divas, Buddha's birth and all that in May, they won't allow any Buddhist things to happen. So, across the board, China does not want any religious practice to be carried on in their country. This is the situation as far as China versus their religious aspects are concerned. But of course, some of these Uyghur people are also equally responsible because they indulged in large-scale violence, terrorism, and so many other things. And then they established links with other terrorist organizations all over the world like Al-Qaeda and Lashkar-e-Toiba. So it is two-way. One is China doesn't want to encourage any kind of Islamic terrorism and Islamic fundamentalism. They don't want it. So they come with a very heavy hand on that. And they don't want any Western civilization, Western influence, Western values. So they consider church as part of the Western world which wants to destabilize China. So they don't want a church. Buddhism also, they don't want any political activity connected with Buddhism. So that is another reason why they don't like Dalai Lama. After the takeover of aggression they committed in Tibet, Dalai Lama had to leave Tibet. So now they have created their own Buddhist monks and Buddhist hierarchy and Buddhist religious order. So what essentially they are looking at is that any religion that will impinge on politics or any religion which can unite people against the government is prohibited. So they keep a close watch on anything that is religious.
Post 9/11 World Trade Center destruction, the worldwide war on Islamic terrorism gained momentum, as also the transnational jihadism itself. China used this war on terror to forcefully clamp down the Uyghur separatism and Islam itself. China considers both Islam and Christianity as foreign religions. But the Communist Party's recognition of the need for religion has given rise to the innumerable Buddhist temples built and owned by the government and serviced by the government-approved Buddhist monks. Ironically, the ideology propagated by Marx and Mao, which had no place for religion, is having to protect itself by propagating its own made-in-China religion. Islam in China is more than a millennium old, and with Islamophobia growing in the country, the world can't ignore the campaign against Muslim in China. Do let us know what you think in the comment box below. For more news updates, log on to www.hwnews.in.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.